When people talk about the most emotional and unforgettable storylines in Friends, Rachel's pregnancy journey is always near the top of the list. This storyline had everything: comedy, romance, awkward moments, emotional scenes, and classic Friends chaos. It all begins when Rachel takes a pregnancy test. At first, everyone believes the result is negative, and both Rachel and Ross try to convince themselves that maybe it's actually a good thing because they're not ready for a baby. They talk about money, responsibility, and how complicated life would become. But then comes the huge twist. The test is actually positive. Suddenly, Rachel realizes that deep down, she truly wants this baby. And the moment she says, "I'm going to have a baby," becomes one of the sweetest and most emotional scenes in the entire series. Of course, because this is Friends, the emotional moment quickly turns into chaos. Phoebe starts investigating who the father is using the famous red sweater clue. At first, everyone thinks it might be Tag, Rachel's younger boyfriend, but eventually the truth comes out. Ross is the father. And Ross's reaction is absolutely priceless. Instead of focusing on becoming a dad, he immediately starts freaking out about the condom failing. His famous line about how they should print the warning in huge block letters became one of the funniest moments in the show. That scene perfectly captures Ross's personality: smart, dramatic, and completely panicked at the worst possible moment. One of the reasons this storyline works so well is because it balances comedy with real emotion. Rachel and Ross are no longer together, but their chemistry is still obvious. Their relationship has always been complicated, and now they suddenly have to prepare to become parents together. Then we get one of the funniest reveals in Friends history: the Europe story. Rachel claims Ross came on to her, but Ross argues that Rachel used her backpacking through Western Europe story, which apparently guarantees romance every single time. The funniest part is when Joey instantly recognizes the story because he once heard it under the fake name Ken Adams. That entire scene is classic Friends comedy: awkward, ridiculous, and absolutely unforgettable. But the pregnancy storyline also gives the characters real emotional growth. Joey becomes incredibly caring and supportive toward Rachel, showing a more mature side of himself. Ross constantly switches between excitement and complete panic, but you can tell how deeply he cares about Rachel and the baby. The storyline also feels surprisingly relatable. Rachel experiences mood swings, awkward doctor visits, pregnancy cravings, random attraction caused by hormones, and even Braxton Hicks contractions. Friends somehow manages to turn stressful pregnancy moments into hilarious comedy while still keeping the emotional heart of the story alive. Then comes the hospital episode, which is one of the funniest and most chaotic episodes in the series. Rachel gets increasingly frustrated because other women keep arriving and having babies before her. Meanwhile, Ross is trying to stay calm while secretly losing his mind the entire time. The two of them arguing in the hospital while preparing for the biggest moment of their lives is peak Friends energy. And finally, after all the stress, jokes, panic, and emotional moments, Rachel gives birth to a baby girl. The moment Ross and Rachel hold their daughter for the first time is genuinely heartwarming because after years of breakups, fights, and misunderstandings, they finally share something truly life-changing together. This storyline is one of the biggest reasons why Friends is still loved by millions of people around the world. It's not just a comedy show. It's a story about friendship, love, growing up, and dealing with unexpected moments in life. Rachel's pregnancy arc gave fans some of the funniest scenes in the series, but also some of the most emotional moments, and that perfect balance is exactly what made Friends so special.